that is worth bringing up here?
He's going to be a hot offensive coordinator candidate a lot of places, but he's also got some head coach possibilities. Cleveland's going to talk to him about their head coach job. They're looking for an offensive guy to pair with Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, who they want to keep and who they like a lot. So Mike McDaniel will he'll be a guy a lot of teams want to talk to, whether it's for offensive coordinator or even potentially bouncing into another head coach job.
Jeff, why are you shaking?
I don't love the Cleveland. If you're Schwartz, why would you want to stay? I mean, like, you should get the head job. I mean, this dude couldn't do any more with the same organization. You're going to bring somebody else in to take my gig. Like, I would love him. I would love him being an OC in different places. I think he's a fantastic offensive coach.
Philadelphia is where you want him.
Philly's where Philly is where I want him.
Let's go, Eagles. There's some good openings.
Yeah.
Philly's not open, but
for offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the last one. That's the big name in all this. How about Jim Harbaugh?
John Harbaugh.
Oh, excuse me, John
Jim,
Harbaugh,
I think is good. John, you know, he basically, here's what's going on with John Harbaugh. Last week, he had sort of informal introductory conversations with general managers for 5 different teams that have openings. I'm talking about the Giants, the Titans, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Browns. And then yesterday he had one with the Falcons, who, as of last week, didn't have a GM, and Matt Ryan didn't get his job till Saturday, so he couldn't do that conversation. Now, the Falcons announced it as an interview, but my understanding is it was no different than the contact he's had with those other 5 teams. The expectation is that John Harbaugh will start doing face-to-face interviews with the teams that he's interested in later this week, early next week. That's the time frame that we are looking at. I would expect the Giants, the Falcons, and the Titans to be 3 places that are appealing to him for various reasons. And if something happened and Green Bay did make a change with Matt LaFleur, I think that might be the leading candidate to land John Harbaugh, at least, you know, in terms of what he would desire.
Would that be the best job? Would Green Bay become the best job available if it came open?
Absolutely.
It would.
Yeah, Micah Parsons coming off an injury. You got Jordan Love, your offensive lineman who's been banged up. They're going to get healthy. Wyatt will come back on the defense. Absolutely, it'd be the best job. I think. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. If that one came up, that would be one. If not, I like where the Falcons are.
The only knock against that job is something that I think doesn't really intimidate too many coaches is like that division is tough. Like you got to have a fight every year in that division. And the expectations, I think, for that organization are pretty high. And the other thing is with John Harbaugh is like he has the cachet to choose the staff on the other side, like the GM and stuff. So that what Gutekunst has done there in Green Bay has been so impressive that I don't think that he would move. So like if you're going there, you have to be aligned with that. And John Harbaugh comes from the Ravens where they had strong front office staff that he could be aligned with.
And I'm kind of interested even in the teams you named, the Titans, you said the Falcons, and the Giants. So even as you look at those teams, I'm interested in a team like the Titans and the Giants, where they're teams that they have quarterbacks that are young players, will be going into their second year. And if you're John Harbaugh and you see the upside in a Cam Ward with a ton of cap space and this very young team, or the same with Jackson Dart, you can mold this team exactly in your image and the way you see it to build them up. So to me, that's the fascinating thing within all of this. Yes, the Green Bay, what were you going to say?
Spoken like a true Titan. Oh,
John, go ahead, go to Nashville.
Dan, is the feeling that a lot of these dominoes won't start falling until we get the biggest one, right? A lot of these teams that are holding on for Harbaugh, maybe until he makes some sort of decision, everyone else, or at least some of them.
Yeah, but there might be a team or two that finds out they're not in on Harbaugh. Like, let's say you're the Raiders and you want Harbaugh, and he likes the idea of like Fernando Mendoza or whatever. But maybe he doesn't want to coach against his brother twice a year.
Right.
Like, you may just not be in a situation where you can get him. And if you find that out, then maybe you move on. But yes, if you're a team that thinks you can get John Harbaugh, I think you're going to wait till he tells you no before making a hire.
That is tough.
So it might hold everything up a little bit, is what I'm trying to say. If he's taking interviews later this week into next week, then maybe the whole carousel sort of slows.
He holds the cards
a little
here.
bit while we wait and see. Then get up, and Graziano, it is time we hop aboard the coaching carousel and see where things stand.
Here we go.
Let's begin in Green Bay. What is going on with Matt LaFleur?
Has 1 year left on his contract. They're discussing an extension. I think the belief is that they'll get to one, but until they do, obviously there are going to be questions around this situation. Another disappointing end to the season. Packers have a new team president, Ed Policy, who took over from Mark Murphy. So, you know, we don't know how he's going to operate. But as of now, the plan is to talk to Matt LaFleur and his representatives about a contract extension, and both sides hope they can find agreement on one.
Enormous amount of criticism for the way he coached the second half with a big lead against Chicago the other day. What are your thoughts on what might be It probably wouldn't be sold as a firing if it doesn't go the way they want it to go, but it kind of would have
firing.
that.
It's a firing.
Okay, a firing.
Sugarcoat it if you want to.
Yeah,
fell short.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't love it as a decision because I think what they've done so far has been pretty successful to be able to have MVP level career or seasons for Aaron Rodgers transition to another quarterback. I think that last game, it's abysmal. But you can look at this season, and if we're going to talk about teams that have been decimated by injuries, I understand the 49ers have and they've succeeded, but that's a reasonable explanation for what happened to this team. Their offense was playing well. The quarterback played awesome in that game, which is why Matt LaFleur is there.
Agreed.
Funny thing is, we're all talking about, while I don't agree, everyone's looking for a quarterback whispering coach. Feels like the Green Bay Packers got one. Moving on from him, I think there are adjustments that you can make to his staff to help him manage games.
Agreed.
But I don't think that you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
I think that was my take on it. When you watch that game, because I think the injury thing for Green Bay, I don't really believe in because you were up so much in that game. So, yes, the latter part of the season, they didn't win a game since Micah Parsons got hurt. Yes, you can bring that up for that argument. But at the same time, when you're watching that game and they're up 21-6 in the fourth quarter, you cannot lose that game. So the last part you said that you possibly bring somebody in on that staff to help LaFleur so he can focus on the offense and figuring out how to score 40 points if they're going to allow you to do so.
Yeah, I think my biggest indictment on LaFleur, and I think this will be if you bring someone else in, or even an OC who's going to be a play call, whatever decisions you end up making, when you look at the last two losses against the Bears, those are indictments, right? You got both those games clearly in hand. Division opponent, you got these wins, you don't make them happen. Hey, 38 plays. 31 passes. And you got that lead that they have, and you end up losing. That comes back to bite you.
He would become a very interesting candidate for a lot of other places. Oh, for sure.
You saw the record there, 76-40. There's not a lot of people out there with that resume.
Let me go to the next one quickly because I want to make sure we have time for Harbaugh. But Mike McDaniel is a name
that stands out overall is the NFC is wide open. 6 weeks ago, we were all saying the LA Rams, they're the best team in the world, the best team in the NFC. They're shoo-ins for the Super Bowl. That's changed dramatically to this point. And at halftime last week, the Chicago Bears were on their way home. When I look at the Seattle Seahawks playing against the San Francisco 49ers, in my opinion, everything is lining up for them to walk themselves into the Super Bowl with 2 home games against 2 probably familiar foes. And so it's what Sam Darnold shows up. They know they have the defense. The run game with Walker and Charbonnet, JSN, an all-pro wide receiver. If Sam Darnold goes out and plays high-level football, doesn't turn the football over, I believe the Seattle Seahawks are the Super Bowl favorite.
There are just so many.
The regular crowd is shuffled in. We had 5 consecutive days of playoff games.
Yes, we did.
Most of them